AFTERBUZZ TV Network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your number one source for after-show entertainment. From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, it's AFTERBUZZ TV's Californication After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Californication After Show.
Welcome, everybody. This is Californication Season 6, Episode 11, called The Abbey. I'm your host, Phil Svitek, joined alongside Stephen Lemieux.
Hello.
And Roxy Striar.
Hello.
Chrisley Kennedy is out celebrating Easter.
Lame. Worst holiday ever.
I know, right?
Don't say that to the Christians. And we will be doing a special interview with Patrick Fischler, known as Gabriel, on the show sometime this week. So look out for that. I don't know the exact date, but you know, just in the nebula of things to come. All right. What did you guys think? Overall thoughts of the episode?
I liked it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Thoughtful. No, I feel the same way. It was great. It was upbeat. I think it's setting us up for the finale, very much so.
I thought it was great, and I've seen this episode a long time ago, and I don't know. The only episode I haven't seen is the finale, so I've been dying to see it. But it has been a good journey so far.
Well, that's what happens when you get them all and watch them all, and then you're like every week, you're like, oh, I've seen this.
Except for it would be okay had I seen the finale, you know, because I shot myself in the foot by not having the finale to see. I knew that going into it. Anyway, let's talk about Runkle and Ophelia and that whole debacle.
Oh my God! So of course the first we see Marcy is she's with Karen, and Ophelia makes her appearance and invites them both to.
No.
I know. I was getting to that. She says it like she's inviting them. You all should come. I wasn't inviting you, Karen. Or what did she call it?
Yeah, she said you guys should come. I wasn't inviting you. I don't remember.
I'm not inviting you.
It was so bizarre. The scene. I mean, we have that scene, then we have the scene when Marcy's at Ophelia's place, which is a very long scene, and it's just like some of the weirdest interactions I've ever seen in my entire life.
Roxy, I'm gonna hone in on you for two reasons. A, you're the closest of having just exited out of college, and by exit I mean she graduated. Don't think she dropped out, people.
Thank you.
She did actually graduate. But more importantly, you are a female. So I am gonna steal.
Closest of the three of us of being a female.
Yes. Well, except for Marissa, maybe in the booth if she wants to chime in. But
she wins.
you know, I really loved Marcy's take on feminism today, and the unfortunate and sad part is, I guarantee if I used that line towards a woman, I would be kicked in the nuts. What is your take on her?
I absolutely agree, and this is why I keep saying that feminists, in the way that they are known and they're extremists, really piss me off, because it's about equality. It's not about beating up guys for what's been done wrong to us for the past decades, centuries, whatever it is. I completely agree with her. I think that Ophelia is, what do we refer to her as? That bitch?
That bitch.
She is that bitch, like, true to her name tonight. Insane.
She's a cuckoo. She's a cuckoo cunt.
Yeah, kooky cunt. I wrote it down.
Cunt.
Like, literally, you can't describe her any more perfectly than that. I do think that Marcy is kind of another extreme. You know, she does have sex with a lot of guys, and like Ophelia says, she kind of opens her legs for anything, and that's a different kind of, I'm going to be empowered as a woman, and I'm going to sleep with as many people as men are allowed to sleep with. I would lie somewhere in between those two things. I'm not going out and proving that I'm a female and that I have all these rights by screwing a lot of guys, but I'm also not going to tase every guy that walks in.
But it's, yeah, because Marcy doesn't demean herself by sleeping with the guys. She just, that's who she is. It's like she doesn't view it as herself lowering herself. She's just like, oh, well, you know, do it, have fun, whatever.
I mean, the main thing is that Ophelia is forcing her ideology onto anyone that she can.
Well, yeah.
And granted, she can't get to Karen, as she says. I can't, for the life of me, penetrate that woman.
What is it about Marcy, though, that Ophelia, seems to be asexual. You know, she doesn't say she's a lesbian. She's not straight. But what is it about Marcy that Ophelia is so in love with?
She's pliable. Like impressionable is what she said about Marcy.
Yes.
You're still impressionable. Just basically she can turn her into who she wants. I mean, you don't see... Look at Ophelia, her character type. She is someone who goes after Marcy. She's like so obsessed with that. And she's only had a few of those clubs because they're at Marcy's house. I mean, Marcy's probably the only person who has been like, oh, come check out what she's talking about.
No, she has like a best-selling self-help book about she-ness and the male whatever was titled.
She does, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she has friends that want to invite her all over to talk to her friends all the time.
But I feel like, you know, in those certain situations, like with Ophelia, she wants to take on a case, you know, and feel like, you know, I mean, in Shameless, which is another Showtime show, there's people who believe you can fuck the gay out of someone, you know what I mean? And so she really... to use that term, she wants to fuck the gay out of, you know, use it as a metaphor, if you will.
But
she wants to...
the straight out of her.
Yes.
Okay. I totally get what you're saying. I just think that there's so many people she's helped. I can't tell what it is. Like, you know, she's made it this long in life without being attracted to somebody, except for maybe that Mexican who defiled her in the asshole at age 26.
Which is, by the way, very revealing at the right time in the story. You know what I mean? It explains everything kind of about her and what has led her to this point in hating men. I mean...
Kind of. Like, I think that if I had some guy stick it in my ass, I wouldn't just be like, oh, that's it. I'm done. Like,
okay.
You realize she was raped.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, that doesn't mean that you need to hate all men and women.
Well, everyone takes it different ways. God, you just totally made
Everyone takes it different ways. Pun in...
You totally just made me lose my... Okay, this is... Okay, got my...
Everyone takes it different ways.
Everyone takes... That's Hank Moody's next book.
You have a mouth, you have an ass, you know.
You have an ear.
Oh, my God. All right.
Go ahead, Steven.
Train of thought coming back onto the rail. There's just something about wanting to fix someone that draws you in. So, like, especially, like, I mean... My family's experience, my brother, all of his girlfriends wanted to change him. He's a rocker, so of course he's just like that. Everyone thinks that they can make him the perfect person. It's just like this. This woman thinks she can make Marcy into the person she wants to make her. And it just, of course, it makes her want Marcy more when Marcy always just goes back to who she was.
I agree with your point, but the person that she wants to make Marcy is what? A dickless with a female, specifically her person?
She wants to make her turn her into who she is. She wants to not be that weird freaking Ophelia bitch, because if there's another one like her, she's not weird anymore.
And because she admits tonight that she's lonely.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, here's the thing, right? She's got her feminists, and granted, she could potentially hook up with them. Marcy is a spitball of sexuality, transition that into lesbian kinkiness,
Boom,
and you've got amazing sexual activities going on.
That's it.
Including candy bars.
It could go that far.
And Astroglide.
It could go that far.
This has been a great episode so far. If you are still listening.
We've deduced it to that. I think that's what it is.
No, I actually
Tell me I'm wrong, Roxy.
I can't tell you you're wrong.
I mean, you just said she's... Anyway.
People take it different ways.
They do. And apparently...
All different ways. Sometimes they like it every way.
You know you've offended rape victims everywhere, Roxy.
You can have it your way at BK.
All right, we're going to get off this before... Well, by the way, to get us back on subject and without, you know... So how did you guys feel about Runkle coming in to save her, being the white in shining armor?
Really? He didn't call the cops or anything? He knows who he's dealing with.
No, but...
But why? What would they say?
How did he get a text from Marcy's phone that said help? I didn't understand
Why didn't she call the cops?
Like, if you can, from your phone, text help, You're tied up in somebody's basement. I was thinking that Ophelia stole Runkle's phone to text help to get him to come, and then was planning on doing that. But once he gets there, clearly that wasn't it, because she tried to turn him away.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that too.
Yeah. No, we have no idea.
I wrote the episode wrong. I don't know. What do you want me to
seriously,
say?
Phil.
What
You
do
need
want
to
me
call
say?
up Tom right now and ask him. Let's get him on the show.
Speakerphone, please.
Wow. It's Easter. He's celebrating this.
But yeah,
family.
so of course
He's Greek. He's Greek, mind you.
We
so
see
they celebrate
Ophelia
Easter.
drinking more and more and more throughout the episode with her interaction with Marcy and all them, and then she finally takes the big swig of wine, and comes back with garden shears.
What's that Stephen King, the book where she's obsessed with the writer?
Oh, Misery.
There you go. Kind of felt like Misery.
It's Misery.
What?
Thank you, Roxy. What?
Wait, what just happened?
I don't know.
Did you come back
Steven-
out of reality 5
Steven-
seconds after I said
Steven,
something?
just you and I keep talking. Let her do her.
So now that we've established the fact that it was Misery, it is very similar to that, because she has an obsession with Marcy, and that's what's kind of accumulating into this. But I mean, she's not exactly hobbling Marcy; she's hobbling Marcy's lover. I mean, Runkle, which of course we do get, when she's not in the room, we get that amazing line from Marcy, where she actually tells Runkle that she loves him.
Despite all the weird, I love Runkle. Runkle needs to learn that
He doesn't know. He doesn't know when to stop.
he doesn't know when to stop. The fact that he was going to go into, you know what? You're right. Despite all the amazing sex I've had with, not something you tell a woman.
Yeah.
There's etiquette, Runkle.
Does Marcy know about the 100, the goal of the 100?
She knows to a certain. I'm sure they're
You're
so
talking about the
close.
100 women that he wanted to have sex with?
And he accomplished.
He accomplished, yes. And he's over 100 now.
That to me is so incredibly vile that I don't know what to say.
Okay, well you
Do
don't
you guys
know,
not agree? Do you think
People
that
take it
that's...
different ways.
If your friend was like, I've had sex with 100 women, would you be like, yeah, you have? Or would you be
My
like,
best friend, my guy friend.
yes.
I'd high five him, probably.
I will not say anything.
Oh, come on, Phil.
Yeah, but and going back to Runkle,
wait.
Again, he doesn't. Here's the thing: Runkle sees Faith's boobs and tells her he's gonna jerk off now.
Yeah.
That's something. You know what I mean?
I wrote down the Runkle conversation ender. Gonna go jerk off.
Yeah. It's just not. Runkle needs to know that there's a certain boundary.
But that was also his way of getting them out of there. He knew saying that would get them on their way, and he kind of wanted them to go to the rehab.
No, I don't think there was more thought behind it. Oh, I'm going to say this so they go. It's totally him.
Yeah.
True, I guess. Maybe a little bit of A and B. No?
No.
Just be.
Oh. Just MB.
Anyway, but I'm glad that Runkle and Marcy finally realized their love in this miserable situation that they find themselves.
Yeah, he does come for her, and that's really sweet, and we wanted them to end up together, and now they are, so yada yada. I don't know where
And he
they're
has
gonna
an
get married
obsession
at
with
the...
tasing.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, if I were him, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Tased her.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, of course.
Definitely.
And it's great how their chemistry is I'll do it again. Only once. I'll do it again. Oh, this is hilarious.
They're like little kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a lot also like Misery, where it's the false giving in, where it's oh, I was gonna chop off his balls and feed him to my cats, and she's like, no, I want to chop him off and I'll eat him myself. It's really, Marcy? And then she's like, no, let's make soup.
Yes.
I mean,
I thought that Ophelia was going to call her out on the fact that she wanted to put his dick in her mouth even after he ate it. She ate it.
I
but-
thought
There you
that.
go.
I thought that. I didn't want to say it. All right.
But I did.
You did. And speaking of saying what you really want to say, go to iTunes, rate and comment. Let us know how you're feeling. Guess what? We got one more episode left. There's no better time to do it than now. Let us know how you guys have felt about this season, how you guys felt about us. Hopefully, even if it's not so good, just give us 5 stars anyway.
give us 5 stars and
that's a good
talk a
point.
bunch of crap.
Yeah.
And then it's evened out. You're good.
That's
Karmic scale evened out when you give 5 stars and talk a bunch of crap. Also, I like that they gave the little thing your books are unreadable.
Oh, to Ophelia, yeah.
Yeah. That bitch. I mean, she needed
That
that.
bitch.
We needed that bitch to get her comeuppance.
I mean, anyway, it's going to go on a whole different tangent, but I'm not going to. All right, let's get to Atticus Fetch.
He quit.
Okay, I have to ask you guys something to start this off, because when we first find out, Faith is sitting with Hank and they're talking about how they have to go get him back and all this stuff. And Faith says, if you were great once, you can be great again. Do we think that's true?
Oh, yeah.
think so.
Of course. Just look at Robert Downey Jr.'s career.
Okay.
All right, in a more practical,
yeah.
I was going to say, just look at Hank. Look at Hank.
I'm not saying that. Do we think it's true that you can find instances of that? I'm saying, do you think that that's always true? If you were once great, you can be great again? You think it's in somebody, not at a time in life?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think you have the ability to be great again. I don't think if you're great once, you will be great again. I think it is, if you were great once, you can be great again.
But hold on. First off, you have to define what great is, right? It's not making a one-hit wonder.
Right.
That's not greatness. That's just, in many ways, yes, it's a combination of things. I won't say it's fully luck, but greatness, as Atticus, he's defined rock, as they say in this show. And so to have done that, it takes a certain person, it takes a certain courage, it takes a certain work ethic, to a degree luck, happenstance, whatever it may be. So yeah, I think he's been trained to do those things. He just needs to find his footing again, just like Hank. Ultimately, I think I think Hank took that as well.
Well, I mean, his greatness was defining the rock history, and now to find greatness again, he's trying to create this musical, and this musical will be his second greatness in a way.
That's true.
I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on that, because I'm not saying I disagree with it. I think Faith makes some statements that you really need to look at the theme of the show, and it kind of describes what they're getting at. And this was a big one for me.
Well, again, I think it just speaks, as much as it speaks to Atticus, it's really more speaking about Hank.
Yeah.
So to do this, they decide that they go visit Atticus at rehab, of course.
Happy ending.
Yeah, happy ending. And he's like meditating in his mental gap, which I loved how Hank put it as the taint of your mind. It's the space between your mind and your mind.
No, that's what Atticus said. Hank started ordering Gap.
Yeah,
polos.
Hank. Yeah. Buy me a sweater.
Yeah.
Did you guys have those Gap sweatshirts when you were younger that just had Gap and every cool kid had them? Because if not, you were a loser.
I never shopped at the Gap.
Thank you, Roxy.
Ever.
Losers.
Make me do it.
That's right. I mean,
that's later. Sorry.
that is later. I love that Faith shows her boobs, and even her.
Were you curious about this? So maybe
To see them?
No, maybe Maggie Grace just has a contract where she doesn't like to be nude, because we have nudity on the show all the time. And
No, a lot of time, like Karen won't show.
Right.
The main women don't necessarily show their breasts.
But yeah, I know. But Marcy has. Yeah, I think.
No.
I mean, it's maybe once in the whole series. Like it's very.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about it. It's interesting.
Why?
Because I wanted to see them.
Where's the Kenzie scale on you?
Don't know what that means.
From 0 to 6, how gay are you?
What's it called?
The Kenzie scale.
Oh. Somewhere in between.
Okay.
You're about a 3 then. Well, no, maybe
Anyway.
probably a 2. Ugh. All right.
By the way, that was a reference to how Richard said that tonight when Faith did come in. He's like, the Kenzie scale would be confused tonight.
I forgot that it was called that, but yep.
Bates is probably my favorite character on the show.
Batesy.
But yes, they got to find a way to get Atticus some drugs, because they need to get him back. And the only way Gabriel will talk to them is, of course, Gabriel asks about Bates.
Let's look at this. For Faith, we discussed her line, right? Is it, for Hank, is a selfish reason to get Atticus out? Like, I want to explore that notion. Getting Atticus out of rehab, is it selfish or not selfish?
I think if we didn't love Hank and Faith so much, I don't mean as a couple, I mean the two characters, then we would look at this and be like, wow, this is really effed up. Atticus has just spent his whole life using drugs and being a rock star, and now he's finally clean and wanting to stay clean, and we have these two jackasses coming in trying to convince him to do otherwise.
I mean, it's still effed up, even though we love him. I mean, we can still clearly see it's effed up.
But now I'm able to justify it. I'm like, but he's a rock star, and he should be doing what he's doing, and if it takes drugs to do that, then drugs it is. Like, I don't know.
But
what's
also,
wrong with me.
how I mean, granted, we didn't see a lot of it, but how ultimately better is he with rehab?
Well, I mean, it's not even that he's giving up the drugs and he's giving up that stuff. He's like giving up everything. It's like he even's like, a fly coach, business. I mean, I probably won't fly at all. It's like, I mean, come on, they do kind of hit on it where you're disappointing the fans, but you don't need to be on drugs and need to be partying all the time to still stay in making music and treating your fans with the respect they deserve. I mean, this is kind of like to totally sell out a concert, to have all these plans in the making, then renege on a $10 million deal with the whole concert, with the whole tour. I mean, just don't do drugs. Even if you suck a little bit more, just don't do drugs. Don't cancel the whole thing and screw over everyone who is like what Becca says.
Wow, Roxy, what do you got?
I think some people are meant to be on drugs.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying if he's going to go this route of the rehab route, he shouldn't be canceling everything.
I completely agree with you, and it's so effed up to say, and I'm going to get like so many hate messages being like, you're horrible and against all this drug use. No, I don't think most people are used to be using drugs, but if you're in that lifestyle and you're an addict, there's no way you can be touring around with people who are like all over doing drugs after you're just out of rehab, after you've been there for what, a week, and then just think that you're not going to use.
Probably like how long was it? A day? Maybe 3?
Probably a day. It was literally Runkle coming home saying Atticus quit, and
touring around is the exciting and stressful period of time, and that's not when you're trying to quit drugs. When you're trying to quit drugs, you need to be relaxed. You need to be at your own time. Like, I just don't think it would work. So I think coming out of rehab, he wouldn't be able to come out of rehab and just perform.
And also, I think ultimately for Atticus, he lost his muse. Just like Hank did. I mean, right, later on, Atticus is talking about, on tours, I write at my best because it's exciting and blah, blah. And I don't, here's the thing. I think there's a common misconception that a lot of rockers and things like, yes, there's drug use and things like that, but ultimately, I don't think, the people that I know, they could not be at the level they are at if all they did was just that. You know what I mean? They do work hard, and I think it's at those moments when they're not doing that they turn to drug use.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying every single person should be really, really effed up on drugs all the time. Like, please don't get me wrong, but I don't think that him coming out, I don't think he'd be able to come out of rehab and do his tour without using drugs.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's true. And you're right to a point when you said he lost his muse. I mean, we have the whole thing with his wife and how they're getting divorced and everything, but he really does love his wife. I mean, his mindset is that of a child, though, and he's like of a rock god, so he really doesn't think of it as like, oh, I'm just having sex with all these women, but I still have my wife, I really love her. I mean, no, it's like, he said to Hank, he's like, I've fucked, so many women in my life, but there's been only one woman that I've loved. I mean, he is married to the woman he loves, and that, to a point, could have been his muse.
You don't think he's going to fall in love with Tweaker Rapist?
God.
She's so weird. She's weird.
I love the line though, where he's like, you're gonna see what it's like to make love to a ginger rock god. And it's like, no, you're gonna know what it's like to get raped by a tweaker
and bleed.
Oh my God.
And one of us will bleed.
Yummy.
It's not me.
He says, I can't wait. Freaks. Some people are just better equipped to have sex with each other.
Oh my God.
Weird. This is what I grew up on. No, not
what?
This kind of television. This.
I know. Last week when we were watching in studio, your mom was here, and she's like, "I don't know if I understand this show. Is this a popular show?" We're like, "Yeah, yeah, it is."
Well, last week wasn't as bad. I don't think.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
I don't think. What do we think of all the drugs at rehab? By the way, all right. So Richard Bates. Go ahead, Steven. Talk about Richard Batesy and why you love this part and why you love Richard.
Well, of course we love Richard. I mean, going back to where we mentioned Richard beginning in this episode is when he asked Gabriel, like, well, did you go to Fist? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, what did you think? It was like Disneyland. That was a pretty funny thing, thinking about that's where the last time we see Richard is, and it's like the fetish club. So Richard, we are introduced to him giving a lecture at his school, talking about, and this is a good point to make with Becca, where we were arguing last week upon what we think about Becca going on the trip, or writing first, then going on the trip, or what's that is. And his whole lecture is, go out and live, and do whatever the fuck you want, and then write. So we kind of see where the differences between what Hank and Richard are on writing scale here, just by a small lecture he's doing.
I thought it was really cool that no matter what he was talking about, if you're a teacher and you can get your student to be that engaged, I think it's really important. Honestly, like, whether it was an important lecture, he's talking about going out and sleeping with people and traveling and doing things that, like drugs and whatever it is. So obviously, not that, but to be able to have the the skills and just like the personality to keep an entire room so interested and stand up and clap. You know, you could stand on top of a room and be like, you should go out and have sex with as many people as you possibly can before you write, you know, and nobody's gonna be listening to you. But he's just like awesome and loud and living it and jumping around and sweating and has these 2 assistants, and I think that's cool. I would love to see him as a professor. I'd love to see some of his lectures.
Well, it's such a contrast between Hank, because we have that whole cross section of Hank as a teacher in the season, and we have Batesy, who does this whole lecture and everyone loves him and everything, and then he's got his 2 TAs that he's going to go have sex with, and he's completely open about it. Then we have Hank, who's just sleeping the whole class, doesn't give a shit, and then he's sleeping with his TAs, but he's keeping it so under wraps, like no freedom or anything like that. So it's just a very stark contrast, yet they're both the 2 people that Becca looks to more. But getting more into that, I mean, of course, Hank and Karen, or no, Hank and Faith show up. I keep getting them mixed up because Faith and Karen just, I mean, they are.
They're supposed to.
They are. They get him, and just the whole conversation they have, where they're just talking to each other, and it's like, what do you guys need? Like, we wanna sneak drugs into rehab. He's like, sounds great, let's do it. It's like, well, there you go.
I need a Batesy in my life.
Okay.
Let's find him.
I can work on that.
So now they go to rehab. Gabriel is not paying attention to anything except Bates. And Hank just walks by to say hello to Atticus with several bags of narcotics.
That I did feel bad about, because, you know, even if we want Atticus out, like, is it good to make everybody else relapse?
No.
Is your life so much more better and important that it's more important to get Atticus out and ruin these 20 other people's lives?
He did say this is something we should talk about in private. And Atticus says, these are all my friends. If you want to say it to me, you can say it to all of them.
Good point.
I mean, that's what happened. And Atticus kind of, he looked like he was on a throne, like, as he was there. He was, like, in betwixt of all his junky friends.
Yeah.
In his drug land.
He was ultimately on a throne, and I don't know how I feel about Gabriel snorting coke, but hey, I guess he's enlightened as well.
I guess soon we'll know how Gabriel feels about Gabriel snorting coke.
Just bite the peach.
Oh
my God.
That girl had a banging body, though. I was like, okay.
She did.
Kenzie's scale shifted again.
Going up to, maybe I'm at a 4 now.
The mangina was back.
Oh, thank God. I missed that mangina.
Really?
Yeah, I love it. He's just so funny, and like this actor has no shame, and the character has no shame, and it's perfect.
Well, you just think back. Every time I see him, I can just imagine the first scene where he's like, "You want a drink? Oh no, I gotta have a drink with you. Haven't touched the stuff in 14 years."
It's amazing.
It just set everything into motion.
And I love that Hank doesn't hate Batesy, and even when Batesy was with Karen, he doesn't like. Batesy is just. There's so many. They would be best friends. Like I just think he's an amazing character as well.
I agree. So let's shift into Karen and Hank, or is it Faith and Hank? Who the hell knows?
No, Karen and Hank and Becca, and the leaving.
Well, so leaving, right? You know, first let's talk about the little speech by boyfriend.
Oh God. It's like he gets awkward, then endears himself, then it gets awkward.
Other than seeing him in the hot tub, have we seen him?
Yeah, we've seen him at rehab. We've seen him in the hot tub. We've seen glimpses of him. I'm frightened for Becca, but you know he's a nerd ultimately.
I just think it's a weird storyline. Whatever. I mean, they'll come back from Europe and. I don't know if they'll be together anymore, but it's fine. I think he's weird and trying. You know, you get nervous in front of your girlfriend's parents, and you try to say the right thing, but instead you end up talking about sex. Doesn't that happen to you guys?
No, it just everything comes out all wrong. I mean, even when you're like, people take things different way, like that just comes out all wrong.
Right.
Right before that, though, we do have an interesting conversation with Becca. That just there's only one thing that I really wanted to draw out of that is when. Becca is talking to Hank about like him and Karen.
Yeah.
And she tells him, she's like, there's no winning in this game. You're playing a game. You're treating her like something to be won back.
Yeah.
But there's no winning in this game.
I wrote that down
She's as fucked up as you are.
That's true.
And just as incredible.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean that was I mean we
and
have our
I
moment.
love that Becca said that because you know what? It's like we always we put Karen on a pedestal because Hank puts Karen on a pedestal. But Karen really has done some messed up things too, and she's just as effed up as Hank is, and they're both just as gorgeous as well.
I mean, just look at last episode or the episode before that where she does the whole thing to Hank on the beach where she's like, I was trying to get back at you and I was turning into you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, was that last episode?
That was 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like she is a little bit fucked up. She's also fucked up because of Hank, but at the same time, it's like you can't blame it all on him.
But then we have a problem because she's like, listen, Becca says to Hank, listen, don't stand still. Like, if, you know, move, do something. So Hank's like, you want to go take a walk? And we take that as kind of a metaphor, like him not standing still and him going for a walk with Karen, you know? And then Karen says, it kind of feels like the end of something. And she's wondering, was Becca the only thing holding the two of them together still? And that really scares me because I don't want a world without Hank and Karen together.
And I'm gonna bring this up because you and I watched the Roxy, so I didn't get your reaction, Steven. You said, have we ever seen Hank cry? Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring that up is because he makes a joke and he says, you know, I'm just trying to keep it light. You know, perhaps the right thing to have done in that moment was to show your emotion in front of Karen.
Right, absolutely. I turned to you and asked you that for that reason because, you know, even as Becca's leaving and Karen's really upset, it's not like we see Karen hysterically cry all the time, but we have seen her tear up multiple times. And when it comes to Karen, you have to know that Hank probably feels like crying inside. He's in love with a woman that won't be with him right now, and that is gut-wrenching within itself. No matter who you are, the emotion, there's sadness there. You can cover it with a bunch of other things, but there is sadness there. And like you're saying, I wonder if he would be better off just kind of letting it out and being like, listen, life without you is a life I don't want to live.
But he does do that at times, and she always just kind of turns it down. I mean, his idea of letting her in on the emotions of Becca leaving was him, like, let's go on a walk, because he never just jumps into things like that. He would be like, let's go on a walk, and then slowly through the walk, it would turn into that. But then when she turns him down on that, he's just like, okay, well, you want me to come inside? And then she says, no, I want a solo cry, and that's when he kind of reverts back to old Hank, making the joke about, oh, that sounds like you're rubbing one out. I mean, he is his own character.
So you think if she had said yes to the walk, he would have approached it and said something?
Yeah, I think the walk was like a defense mechanism, as like the walk was his, okay, I want to open up. No. Okay, let's go inside. I want to open up. No. Go into joke mode as defense mechanism because I don't want to show my emotions right away.
Okay.
I understand that, but you have to also understand that, you know, there's certain tactics that you have to take, and you should know the person, right? So if you really know Karen, that wouldn't have been your first tactic. That's a great first tactic for a first date.
I think that's an excellent point, is that you have to know your audience. And for him, like, and even, we don't even know if Karen didn't want him to go on the walk or come inside. That's a girl thing to do. Like, when a guy says, do you want to take a walk, and you're kind of upset and whatever, you're like, no, I think I should be by myself. A lot of times, that's girls saying, you better come inside with me. I know, women. Effing women.
Well, like...
I'm mad!
Sorry, guys, sorry.
No, but I mean...
You know it's true.
It's so true, and that's what eats me up inside.
If Hank, because Hank asked her if she wanted to go on a walk, she escaped. If Hank honestly just turned around and started walking away, she would have gone after him. I know, I'm totally just doing that.
I mean, we need a diagram.
Yeah, a Venn diagram.
Well, why don't we get into predictions? Because everything else we're going to say is going to be a prediction.
I also kind of liked where she's like, this is the empty nest. And it's like, don't worry, when she gets back, she's a writer, so she'll be unemployed for the next decade anyway.
Yeah.
She'll have to stay with one of us.
Absolutely. And talking more about that into predictions, Hank says, if I try and fail, what will I have left? Referring to Karen. And I think that's another reason why he doesn't push it more, because he's nervous that if she ever completely shuts him down, he will be hopeless and left completely alone.
Yeah, but you got to commit 100%.
Yeah, so is he going to commit 100% to this tour, or is he going to commit 100% to staying home and fighting for Karen?
He will have to choose next episode.
That's what I'm asking you guys.
I think he's going to choose Karen.
He says faith is perfect, but then we do see him down on one knee proposing to Karen.
You heard my Boy Meets World argument.
Do you see Karen in the same scene? I didn't get to see the previews.
Yeah, you do. You see on stage, Marcy and Runkle are getting married from Atticus, and Atticus says, "Is there anybody else in the crowd who would like to get married?" And Hank gets down on one knee, and Karen, you don't see her response, but she's standing there. I think that Showtime would not have showed that if Karen is planning on saying yes, because it would have been too obvious and they don't want to give away the finale. That makes me think that she does not say yes to his proposal, which of course makes me want to go home and gouge my eyes out.
Well,
Wow.
And
Tell us
that's
how you really
I feel
feel.
about that.
I don't know if I can make Roxy. I have to pre-screen this episode,
I know.
and
so
then
in
I'll
case-
decide whether or not it's appropriate for you to watch. Steven, any thoughts from you?
Honestly, I don't really have that many. I didn't get to see the previews. I don't really know what's coming next because I was thinking something else before you said the proposal
Would you
thing.
rather him choose Karen or Faith? Not in life in general. Just
I'm still sticking with the fact that he's going to make the choice, and he'll choose Faith, but Faith won't be there when he gets there.
Okay.
All right. I 95% think Marilyn Manson is in the last episode.
Well, yeah, duh.
All right, well, thank you. Roxy, where can we find you?
On Twitter at Roxy Striar and on Instagram at RoxYourWorld with 2 Ds.
You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, or on Instagram at SRLemieux, or on Facebook at /SRLemieux Photo, or here at AfterBuzz TV doing many other shows and in the booth.
Yes, and you can find us here at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be here for the finale, and we'll stay tuned for that Patrick Fischler interview. Until next Sunday.
Happy Easter!
That's
Sunday.
right.
From
Bye.
Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, motherfuckers!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.